I love to smoke. I smoke 7,000 packs a day, okay? And I am never quitting. I don't care how many laws they make. What's the law now? You can only smoke in your apartment, under a blanket, with all the lights out? Is that the rule now, huh?
Thanks for staying up later. This is Denis Leary. No cigarette, no ashtray. Are you on the wagon here?
Well, first of all, anything's an ashtray, okay?
Well, theoretically.
This floor is an ashtray, and this little thing that's holding my drink is a future ashtray. And I've got the cigarettes right here inside the jacket.
So you haven't kicked it?
No.
Cindy Crawford comes out on some sort of MTV show. I guess the MTV Awards show it was. Is that it?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
And she says, I got 2 words for Denis Leary. Lung cancer.
What, like I said, oh my God, Cindy said quit, so I quit. Is that what you mean?
No, I don't think that was what I was driving at. But
what were you driving at with the Cindy Crawford thing?
Probably not a good idea, although it's integral to your act. Probably taking its toll over time, right?
Probably. But, you know, there's a lot of great athletes who smoked right through their careers.
True.
Babe Ruth.
The least of what the Babe did.
The least of what the Babe did, smoking. And I think on the long list of sins, with the Babe, smoking, probably bottom of the list.
Oh, yeah, it doesn't even make the top 20.
Okay, it doesn't even make the top 20. I mean, I think the first 1 through 10 is prostitution, isn't it? Just various forms.
Yeah.
So
variations on the
smoking is way on the list. But you never smoked?
Never.
Never.
I was afraid it would stunt my growth.
Okay, on that note, I think you never picked up a cigarette and took a...
once or twice, maybe.
Right. And you just didn't like it?
Didn't like it at all.
Okay, at least you tried it.
Couldn't get through it.
Couldn't get through it. Did you cough?
Yeah.
Yeah. At least you tried it.
Yeah, hacking and wheezing.
A lot of people have never even thought to light it up and see what it tastes like, and, you know, they just write it off. So, you know.
You enjoy it. It's not just that you're addicted to it. You claim that you enjoy it.
I love it. Do you want me to smoke one right now?
I don't know.
I feel this weird pressure all of a sudden from Bob.
Feel free. Whatever makes you comfortable is what I want you to do.
There's an ashtray right over there. I could probably flick an ash from here. That's how good a smoker I am. See how far away that ashtray is?
Yeah.
Yeah, I could probably...
That's quite a feat.
I could flick an ash from here. You know? Unlike the Knicks, I could make that shot.
And you are a huge sports fan.
Huge.
A guy who once did a 2-hour show in front of an audience about guilt and anxiety with a 2-hour-long loop of the ball going through Bill Buckner's legs in the '86 series playing behind you.
Yeah, so actually, I guess I should qualify that. I'm not really, I guess, a sports fan because I'm a Red Sox fan, which ties into the whole Catholic guilt, you know, Irish tragic, you know, destiny thing, I guess. That's the way I look at it.
What would have happened if the Red Sox had won that World Series? And no team has ever been closer to winning, looked to be more sure of winning, and not won ever.
Yeah. You mean in that particular instance?
Suppose they'd won the series. So now they have it. It's not hanging over their head anymore. Would that change the whole nature of being a Sox fan?
I think it would. I think you can't... After that experience, because I grew up, the first time I really was cognizant of being a baseball fan was in '67 when I was 10, and the Sox had the impossible dream season, and I had scarlet fever that summer, and I had pus oozing from my right ear all summer long. I used to have to go to the doctor, and they'd vacuum it out. And my dad had tickets down the stretch for against Cleveland and Minnesota, which was the last, like, 6 or 7 home games. And he refused to take no for an answer from my mom, and we went to the game. So my first experience as a Sox fan was holding a Red Sox pillow with the Sox logo on it, like this, with my head tilted sideways, watching the Sox win, you know, for a little while, with pus oozing onto the Sox logo. And looking back on that now...
Literally a draining experience.
A draining experience. Literally leaking my brain fluid into a pillow. And that was a heartbreaking thing, because I remember thinking, God, you know, baseball's great, and this is my team, and boy, we're going to win. And then, of course, we were crushed like a bug.
On to topic 2. Aging rock stars. That's a big thing for you.
That was just number 1. That
I don't know what it was. Topic 1 in this segment.
Okay.
Aging rock stars. Big thing for you.
Mm-hmm.
Time for them all to pull over to the side of the highway.
Most of them. Keith Richards I like. And I think, again, you know, probably a walking monument to aging rock stars, but with chemical assistance. Keith looks his age, don't you think?
You know what? He's finally caught up to where his appearance and age have intersected.
Yeah, they've intersected.
Because when he was 35, he looked like he was 50 or whatever he is now, and now he does.
Yeah, he's got a great face, though. Great face. One of those faces. I love those kind of faces those guys have, where like they look like they're squinting the whole time, but they're not.
Right.
Like the creases are just permanently formed. I think some of these guys. It's funny because, like Sting, who I think for a long time was taking himself a little bit too seriously, is making a big point of having a sense of humor on this tour that he's on now. Same thing with U2. So everybody, and what I found is from having made fun of these guys in a very public way on MTV, that I've slowly either heard from them or heard from their people, so to speak, and it just makes me think, well, I'm sure I'm not responsible, but all of a sudden everybody seems to have more of a sense of humor about it, you know? You know what I don't want on MTV? I'll tell you what. Aerosmith, Vanilla Ice, and Cher, okay? No Crosby, no Stills, no Nash. No bald guys, no fat guys, no fat bald guys, no rock stars who look like history professors, okay? R.E.M., no. Marky Mark, no. PM Dawn, no. You could say anything about these people as long as you mention them, I guess. You know? I mean, Marky Mark, I said 2 or 3 things about him in different MTV spots, and none of them were favorable. I met the guy, and he's like, hey, man, thanks for mentioning me. I was like, geez, you know?
How much of the way people respond to you do you think is humor content, and how much is just fascination with the way you work and the mechanics of it and the fluidity of it?
I think the MTV stuff is probably a combination, because just in tone, and it wasn't working to a live audience. So they do take on a sort of aspect on purpose of speed and the way the words roll out. And also the level of anger and the subject matter. That's why there was so much fun to do, you know? I'd like to take this opportunity to personally thank the Black Crowes for bringing bell-bottoms in the early 70s back into style. 2 words, guys, Jethro Tull. 2 more words, Aqualung, okay? Remember when rock and roll didn't have an award show? Remember when there wasn't a Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? I think you do. I think you hear me knocking, and I think I'm coming in, and I got Neil Sedaka, the Bay City Rollers, and a box of fluorescent lime green polyester leisure suits with me. Live, I think some people get disappointed when they see a live show and they don't hear the 2 words and I think you hear me knocking stuff, because that was really sort of designed for those MTV spots. And live, you know, you have to sort of play to laughs, because that's what it's about, you know. Although you do sometimes get, I mean, last night I did a show here in New York at Town Hall, and you just get, when things are going well, you get into stuff that you, like I was talking about California last night for a good 15 or 20 minutes. With a lot of anger, and a lot of it was really funny, but I'd only planned like 2 minutes of it, so I was having a great time. And then I think I actually said at one point during the show, I had reached the point where I was so angry and ridiculously angry about California for so long that I actually stopped myself and said, you know, I really, I got to see somebody about this. But that was just because I'd been there for the last few weeks and it was pent up, you know. I mean, that whole thing in California to me, 60-year-old men saying the word dude, you know. There's one of the things on the list. You know, a 60-year-old guy, well, dude, I mean, explain that one to me. And the second thing is, 11:30 at night, everybody goes home. You know, Saturday night, 11:30. I've had too much carrot juice, I should head on home, you know. I'm naked in the hotel lobby, you know, with a gun, going, where is everybody?
And a butt.
Yeah, you know, so it's not my milieu, you know. I'm just a regular Joe with a regular job. I'm your average white suburbanite slob. I like football and porno and books about war. I got an average house with a nice hardwood floor. My wife and my job, my kids and my car. My feet on my table and a Cuban cigar. Sometimes it just ain't enough to keep a man like me interested. Oh no, no way. No, I've gotta go out and have fun at someone else's expense. Oh yeah. Yeah. I drive really slow in the ultra fast lane while people behind me are going insane.
Save and Duracell. You can't top the Copper Top.
How much of the attitude is real anger, and how much is a crafted act?
Oh, it's all fake. I'm a sweet guy. Just a sweetheart. I'm not angry about anything except, you know, Bill Buckner, Bob Stanley. No, I mean, I think that's a rough call, you know, because people always want to know, geez, you know, you're that guy, you're that angry all the time, and you can't. Obviously, you couldn't be if you were that angry all the time. You'd blow up. You'd have either an aneurysm or a heart attack, or maybe both at the same time.
And Japan, let me get this straight. These guys want to make better products that last longer and cost less. What do they think this is? A democracy? I got 3 words for Japan. Torah, Torah, Torah. Okay? And China, nice bike. Yeah, 4 billion people, no cars, and I'm the I don't think so, okay, folks? Are my shirts ready? Australia, 3 words, Olivia Newton-John, okay? End of argument. Ireland, perfect. England, not bad. America, hey, don't forget, we still got the bombs. Folks, why can't we just get along, huh? Why can't we put aside our differences and live together in peace and harmony? Huh? Why? I'll tell you why. Because we hate each other!
It's exaggerated. I mean, that's the sort of thing where if you sort of want to have that same speech pattern that you have in the living room with your friends, or when you're sort of riffing on a subject with somebody that you know well. So it's sort of taking that and exaggerating it a little bit. I think you've probably, if you get on one of those riffs with a good friend, you know how you tend to get on a roll, as they say.
Right.
And so you are, even in the living room, exaggerated. If you're talking about, like we were joking about the Red Sox or whatever, you kind of just take off and your friends watch you for a few minutes. It's the same thing. It's sort of taking a subject matter and the element of anger that you have in you and blowing it up for comic effect, you know. So it always kind of surprises me when people think that you're really that angry about that particular subject all the time, you know.
You've got all these spots on MTV, and obviously you do stage work, and you've done some movie stuff and some stuff on cable. Has your audience changed? When you do a show, do the faces in the audience look different now than they did 2 years ago?
Yeah, they do. Get a lot of people, get a lot of like Judas Priest, Ozzy Osbourne sort of fall-off guys, you know, who are like a little bit too old maybe for that now in their own minds,
right?
But still wear the T-shirts and come and do the, you know, after everything you say, what? And you're like, guys, please.
Well, that must make you feel great.
Oh, it makes you feel
Approval
great.
From that demographic is what you crave, right?
Those are the guys I'm after, you know. And then this friend of mine said he was in a music store, a record store here in New York the other day, and ran into a 10-year-old kid. And the 10-year-old kid could recite all the lyrics to the song, the title of which we can't say here. I don't know how we could say it.
Work around it.
Work around it. The song about the derriere.
Right.
Is that passable?
That's good.
That's French.
That's
right?
good.
Yeah, French is always passable. So a 10-year-old kid. So that's where I think my real demographic is. I'm working into the youth of America.
Well, actually, on MTV, you're certainly reaching teenagers, if not 10-year-olds.
Well, I had a 13-year-old kid stop me in the street one day and go, "Hey, you're," and I'm thinking he's going to come up with my name any second. He goes, "You're Cindy Crawford's friend." And I was like, "Great, 35 years old. I'm Cindy Crawford's friend. Thank you. That's who I am."
Well, you're the guy who wanted the whole network.
You could Chiron that right now, couldn't you? Cindy Crawford's friend.
No rock, no jock, no Ed, no Dre, no Paulie, no Joyner. All I want is Cindy Crawford, okay? House of Style, 24 hours a day. No MTV news unless it's news about Cindy. What she's doing, what she's wearing, what she smells like, okay? No music unless it's songs about Cindy, okay? I want half-hour specials about Cindy. I want hour-long documentaries about Cindy. I want Cindy unplugged. I want acoustic Cindy. I want long, drawn-out slow-motion shots of Cindy walking, Cindy sleeping, Cindy eating an Eskimo pie naked on the roof of the Empire State Building, okay? I want to change the House of Style to the House of Cindy. Not MTV, CTV. No rock, no promos, no Richard Gere, just me and Cindy, okay? I think you hear me knocking, Richard, and I think I'm coming in, and I got a box full of Eskimo pies with me.
Obviously, you're very fluid verbally, but some of these routines have to require some practice, just so that you can, you know, rifle them off without even thinking about it. How long does it take you to master a 45-second, 1-minute-long riff like that?
You know, it depends on the situation. Live on stage, it'll fumble for a while because I like to talk stuff. I like to work from notes and then talk it out live on stage. So I'll fumble for a while and then eventually get it. For stuff like the MTV thing, fortunately the director, Ted Demme, is a really good friend of mine and a pretty patient guy and also understands how I work. We would just rattle away and I would go and go and go and like just one word would stumble you and you'd have to go back to the beginning again. But live, it's so crucial sometimes that one word can kill the entire laugh on something. So that's really the thing that keeps you in the moment, because it's just like making sure that you get the words and the ideas connected together.
It's a real high wire act, because if you are mocking some other person or some sensibility, then your own competence on your own terms is crucial.
Oh, crucial.
So a single stumble, even for a half second, in a minute-long thing that might otherwise be amazing, it's blown.
Yeah, it's very... I did a bit about Rick Wakeman. Remember him? The organ player from Yes. And a prime target. A guy who did a solo album. I think there was a 4-sided solo album. It was just, you know, organ rock back in '74, you know. And Yes, of course, you know, huge, you know, group. I'm sure lived through the ages.
Roundabout was their big hit in the early '70s, right?
And he had, like, what do you have, a 20-minute organ solo in that. And I had a long bit about Rick Wakeman that I thought summed up part of the '70s, and I ruined the whole bit in retrospect. Until I heard the tape later, I didn't know. I knew the bit was funny. And I said to the audience in live, I said, well, maybe they're all young people or something tonight. I couldn't figure it out on stage. When the show was over, listen to the tape. Instead of saying 45-minute organ solo, I said 45-year-old organ solo at the top. And then went through a 2-minute bit about Rick Wakeman with the entire audience going, what the hell is he talking about? You know? 45-year-old, you know, and you don't realize, because you didn't realize that one word was missing. It throws off like the next 15 minutes, because they don't know what the hell you're talking about, you know?
We're back with Denis Leary. We've already established that you're a big baseball fan. You've done a number of movies. One of them is the recent movie called The Sandlot.
Yeah.
Playing against type, because you're this kid's dad, and none of the sort of acerbic edge that we associate with you is in this role.
Yeah, that's what I liked about it. On top of the fact that it was a baseball movie, and, you know, secretly I always wanted to be in a baseball movie, because I'm one of those guys that won't cry, you know, at, you know, his own father's death, but would cry at, you know, the Lou Gehrig story, or, you know, watching Yaz retire, you know. I mean, that's sort of like an unwritten macho code that you can't really cry at anything and let anything out, but like if Yaz retires, you're allowed to shed a tear. You know,
right.
These famous sports, well, he's not really crying, he's a famous sports guy, it doesn't count. So I always wanted to do a baseball movie, and I liked the part because it was, you know, a dad in the early '60s who's a baseball nut and a little cold and distant from his stepson, because he's not a fan of baseball, and it didn't have any of that MTV stuff and that sort of thing, that speed and the pattern of speech that people associate with me. Eye on the ball, okay? Got it?
Okay.
Okay, if the ball moves, move your glove. Got it?
Yeah.
All right, here we go. Okay, just need a bigger glove. Throw it back to me this time. Throw it back. Okay. Scotty, keep your eye on the ball.
Okay. Got it.
Okay. And it was a lot of fun. I think the movie's very funny. There's a couple of classic scenes in that movie when that kids really fall down. You know, things from kids from childhood that we can all understand.
I've forgotten my next question. Does anyone in the audience have a question?
Hang on, we got the thing right here.
But you see, I don't like to look at that thing.
You don't? Well, that
Someone's
may
yelling out.
That may be part of our problem.
Someone's yelling out 3. What's question 3?
3?
Oh, 3. Your background. Say, you were the son of an auto mechanic, weren't you?
Yes, I was. How'd you find that out?
It's right here on 3.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
I was the son... I'm just checking my lines. Okay, teleprompter. Yes, I was the son of an auto mechanic. And my dad was an auto mechanic. And a good one. A great one, actually. I think you'd have to go in the Hall of Fame.
One of the all-time auto mechanics. A real Mr. Goodwrench.
And I don't know a damn thing about engines, because it's just like... We're talking about baseball. It's the same thing. The great ball players never make great managers. My dad was such a great mechanic, you couldn't learn anything from him, because as soon as he said, Dad, the car's making a funny sound. Get out of the way. Let me fix it. Bang, it's fixed. Go ahead, you know. One time, I had a '67 Pontiac Tempest. This was in the late '70s. A crappy old car. It was on its last legs, had like 100,000 miles on it. I was making a weird sound. I said, Dad, there's something wrong with this car. It's, you know, it's a sound. He goes out. It's gone like 15 minutes, comes back. It's all set, son. 4 months later, I'm driving the car and stopping at a gas station, go to change the oil. There's a door hinge attached to the engine block. feeding one of the pistons up and down. I look at it, and like, I'm such an idiot about cars, I go, oh, it's probably not a door hinge. It's probably some special auto part. And I asked my dad about it. He goes, no, it's a door hinge. I didn't have the parts. I just put a door hinge in there. That's a good mechanic.
That's a real good mechanic.
Yeah. When you open it up and there's parts from the house in the car. Dad,
Did it annoy him that you had no aptitude at that?
No, it didn't, because he just, he didn't, his knowledge was so extreme that to explain to us what he knew about engines would have taken too much time. So he would just rather fix it and, we move on. So.
How long ago did he die?
He died in 85.
In 85?
Yeah, so he was saved having to watch that 86 World Series, which I'm sure would have killed him anyways, He was from that Ted Williams era, Yaz was never as good as Ted Williams. Whatever, we go to games in the late 60s, and, Yaz would, like, jump over the wall, okay, catch a ball, and come back into left field in one move. My dad go, oh, that's nothing. Ted Williams used to run through the wall, And the fact that Ted Williams, fought in a war, forget about it.
Two wars?
Yeah, you couldn't get around that. You couldn't get around that.
Hurricane headquarters.
Where do we say goodnight, to 3?
Yeah.
This is a great gig, huh? Do I say goodnight now?
Well, since you're a regular viewer, you know what the goodnight is.
What is it? Oh, yeah, see you later. I never watched the show until the end.